Have you ever texted her and watched those three little dots vanish without a reply? Have you stood right in front of her and felt invisible? What if I told you that the way you respond in these moments could either destroy her ego or destroy your self-respect? Before we go deeper, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and make sure you watch till the end, because this might just change the way you handle women forever. We're not just talking tactics. We're using the ancient wisdom of Marcus Aurelius to reclaim your power, your dignity, and your masculine edge. Now let me tell you a story. There was a man named Lucius, successful, intelligent, confident, a modern Stoic in many ways. He had one weakness, her. She was magnetic, beautiful, but emotionally elusive. One day warm, the next day cold. And when Lucius tried to connect more deeply, she began to ignore him. Texts went unanswered. Calls went straight to voicemail. She was online, but never responded. And Lucius? He spiraled. He overanalyzed. He started wondering what he did wrong, whether she was losing interest, or worse, talking to someone else. Until one day, he stopped. He pulled out a worn book he had read years ago, Meditations by Marcus Aurelius, and everything changed. 1. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. Have you ever loved someone so deeply that even her silence screamed in your ears? Think about her for a moment. The way she looked at you when you first met, the way your heart skipped when she smiled. Maybe it was the way she touched your hand for the first time, or how she used to text you, "I miss you," late at night. Now think about the moment. It all shifted. Maybe it was subtle. She started replying slower. Her eyes didn't light up the same way. One day she just stopped replying altogether. No explanation. No closure. Just distance. You kept checking your phone. Kept wondering, did I say something wrong? You replayed your last conversation over and over like a broken record. You imagined her with someone else, laughing, talking, giving him the attention she used to give you. It hurts, doesn't it? But here's the truth that Marcus Aurelius, one of the wisest Stoic emperors, offers you like a sword to cut through this emotional fog. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. Lucius, the man in our story, felt the same ache, the same sleepless nights, the same emotional torment. But one night, while scrolling through old messages she had sent him, desperately looking for clues, he stopped. He looked at his reflection in the window and it hit him. I cannot control her, but I can control me. That's when everything began to shift. He began journaling every morning, not about her, but about his mind. How was he reacting? What was he believing? Was he chasing her love or losing himself? And here's where you come in, my friend. You might think this story is about Lucius, but it's not. It's your story. You're not watching this video by accident. You've loved. You've lost. And now you're looking for answers. What if I told you the pain you're feeling right now? It's not caused by her ignoring you. It's caused by your belief that you need her attention to be happy. That's a lie. What you need is to reclaim the throne in your own mind. Because here's the hidden truth. She can ignore your messages. She can leave your DMs unseen, but she cannot touch your peace unless you hand it to her. Lucius learned that. He put down his phone, picked up his journal, and reminded himself daily, I am not here to control her. I am here to master myself. So let me ask you this. What if this moment of silence is not a rejection, but an invitation? An invitation to grow, to rise, to take back your attention and invest it in yourself. That's not just how you destroy her ego. That's how you become untouchable. Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. Do you remember the first time you felt like you had to prove yourself to her? Maybe it was a subtle shift. She started giving you one-word replies. She took hours, sometimes days, to text back. You started buying her gifts, sending long messages, trying to be more charming, more available, more of what you thought she wanted. All just to win her back. Sound familiar? That's exactly where Lucius found himself. After weeks of her slowly pulling away, he thought, maybe if I show her I care more, she'll come back. So he texted paragraphs, apologized for things he didn't even do, told her he missed her. And her response? Silence. Lucius sat on his bed one night, staring at his phone, wondering how things went so wrong. That's when he opened his old, leather-bound copy of Meditations and saw the words, waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. It hit him like a thunderbolt. He realized he was trying to perform for her, trying to convince her he was worthy of her attention. But the more he tried to prove himself, the more he lost who he actually was. So he stopped. He didn't stop caring, he stopped chasing. He didn't become cruel, he became clear. Lucius put all that energy, the begging, the texting, the overthinking, into becoming. Not pretending, not proving, becoming. He started waking up earlier, reading more, training harder, working on his finances, his posture, his presence, and something incredible happened. He didn't just feel stronger, he became stronger. Now let me ask you, what if the real reason she pulled away wasn't because you lacked something, but because you abandoned yourself trying to win her over? What if the most attractive thing you could ever do is to not convince her at all? Imagine this. You stop explaining yourself. You stop trying to show her you're a good guy. You start embodying it. You walk into a room and your energy speaks louder than your words. You become the man who doesn't need to say I'm valuable, because everyone feels it. That's what Lucius did. And here's the twist. Weeks later, she came back. She texted him, "Hey, I've been thinking about you." But by then, Lucius was no longer waiting. You see, when you stop chasing, stop proving, and start building, you stop being an option in her eyes. You become the standard. So let me ask you again, are you arguing about what a good man should be, or are you out there becoming him? This is your turning point. This isn't about her anymore. It's about you. Or the best revenge is not to be like your enemy. Have you ever imagined texting her something cold? Something to hurt her just a little? Just enough after she ignored you? Maybe you've thought about posting a picture with another girl, just to make her jealous. Maybe you wanted her to feel exactly what you felt. That sharp, silent pain of being overlooked. If you've ever been there, trust me, you're not alone. Lucius, our Stoic brother, had that moment too. After weeks of being ignored by the woman he loved, he sat one night with his phone in his hand, thumb hovering over the screen. He had typed out a message dripping with bitterness. "Thanks for showing me who you really are." But before he hit send, something stopped him. He remembered a quote he had once underlined in his copy of Meditations. "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy." He paused, and then he deleted the message. Because here's the truth that no one tells you. When a woman ignores you, and you react with pettiness, with games, or with spite, you've already lost. Not because she won, but because you've stepped out of your character and entered hers. Let me ask you, have you ever been ghosted and instead of responding with grace, you lashed out? Maybe you texted her 100 times, or maybe you blocked her and unblocked her just so she'd notice. How did you feel after? Be honest, most men don't feel powerful after doing that. They feel empty, hollow, because their actions weren't driven by strength. They were driven by ego. Lucius realized something critical that night. He could either mirror her behavior, or he could master himself. So he chose to rise above. No bitter texts, no passive-aggressive posts, no chasing. He didn't play the revenge game, not because he wasn't hurt, but because he wasn't her. And that was the real revenge, because while she expected emotional chaos, he gave her silence. While she waited for drama, he gave her dignity. You see, there's a silent power in restraint. It sends a message louder than any insult ever could. You no longer have access to my energy. That's the moment Lucius stopped trying to win her back and started winning himself back. Now let me pull you into this story even deeper. Think about your situation. What if the next time she ignored you, you didn't react with anger? What if you didn't try to prove a point, but instead just disappeared? Not out of spite, but out of self-respect? Because that's what Stoic revenge looks like. It's not about making her feel pain. It's about refusing to become someone you're not just because someone couldn't see your worth. So ask yourself, will you reflect her chaos or reveal your calm? The choice defines not just the relationship, but the man you become after it. For when you arise in the morning, think of what a privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love. Do you remember the last morning you woke up feeling excited just to be alive? No anxiety, no thinking about her, no waiting on a reply. Just peace, just you, the sunlight coming through the window and the quiet power of presence. If that feels like a distant memory, you're not alone. Lucius once woke up to messages that made his heart race, not out of joy but out of fear. Fear that she still hadn't replied. Fear that she had moved on. Every morning began the same, checking his phone before even opening both eyes. Sound familiar? That's what love does when it becomes attachment. You stop living for yourself. You start living for responses, for attention, for crumbs of connection. But then one morning something shifted. Lucius opened Meditations instead of Instagram, and he read this. When you arise in the morning, think of what a privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love. And he paused. He realized he had forgotten the privilege of life. He had given all his emotional energy to a woman who no longer gave him hers, and in doing so, he had stopped giving life to himself. So that day, Lucius made a small change. He stepped outside at sunrise, no phone, no expectations, just himself. He looked up at the sky and whispered, "Thank you for another chance. Now let me bring this back to you. When was the last time you woke up and thought about your life, not hers? When was the last time you were grateful just to be able to feel the breeze, drink your coffee slowly and not have to explain yourself to anyone? Let's go deeper. Think of the mornings you used to text her, 'Good morning, beautiful.' How you'd wait for her reply to feel like the day had truly begun. What if I told you the most powerful good morning you can ever send is the one you give to yourself?" Lucius started writing this every morning in his journal. I don't need her to reply. I need me to show up. Because here's the truth. She can ignore your texts, but life will never ignore you. It's waiting every single morning for you to wake up and choose yourself. The moment Lucius made that shift, he felt it. Something unexplainable. A quiet power, a freedom, a sense that his day no longer began with her. It began with him. So here's my challenge to you. Tomorrow morning, when you open your eyes, don't look at your phone. Look within. Remind yourself it's a privilege to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, and yes, to love again, even if she never comes back. Because when you become grateful for life itself, you stop needing anyone to complete you, and that's when the real healing begins. Stay with me. The next lesson reveals how Stoics prepare their heart, not for rejection, but for unshakable peace. You won't want to miss it. For if you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment. Have you ever stared at her last message wondering what it meant? Or worse, wondered why she stopped messaging altogether? You kept asking yourself, did I say too much? Was I too available? Did I show her how much I cared? And that pushed her away. It's like your whole heart is being held hostage by a few missing words and an empty inbox. Lucius knew that pain well. After his girl stopped replying, his world shrank into that tiny notification bar. Every buzz on his phone gave him hope, and every silence crushed it. But one night, as he sat in that spiral of anxiety, he opened Meditations again, and he read this quote from Marcus Aurelius. If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment. It hit him like thunder. He realized something powerful. Her silence wasn't causing his pain. His interpretation of her silence was, Lucius had told himself a story, that she didn't care, that he wasn't enough, that he must have done something wrong. But none of that was proven. It was just his mind, painting pictures with incomplete data. Let me ask you, what story are you telling yourself? That she lost interest? That she found someone better? That you're not good enough? What if all of that is just a story? Because here's the truth. Her ignoring you is external, but your emotional reaction, that deep pit in your stomach, the late night overthinking, the loss of appetite, that's internal. And Marcus Aurelius is giving you a superpower. You can revoke your pain at any moment by changing the meaning you give it. That night, Lucius closed his eyes, took a deep breath, and said out loud, "Her silence does not define me. My response does." He decided to stop waiting, to stop analyzing every message, every scene but not replied, and to start reclaiming his power. He began rewriting the story in his mind. Instead of "she's ignoring me because I'm not enough," he thought, "she's making space for me to become more than I was." Instead of "I'm losing her," he said, "I'm rediscovering me." And that changed everything. So I'll ask you again, brother, what are you making her silence mean? Because your pain isn't in her lack of words. It's in the meaning you've attached to them. And you can let that go. Not next week. Not tomorrow. Now. Close your eyes, breathe in, and revoke the power you gave to her silence. You'll be shocked at how peaceful life becomes when you stop letting people control your emotional weather. Lucius did it, and so can you. The next lesson? It's about how to guard your heart, not with walls, but with wisdom. 6. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. Have you ever replayed conversations in your head, wishing you had said something different? Have you ever scrolled through old pictures and felt like you're watching someone else's life, the life you used to have with her? If you've been there, you're not alone. Lucius was too. After she stopped replying, cold, without reason, he became a prisoner of his own thoughts. He checked her status updates obsessively. He wondered who she was texting now. He imagined her laughing at someone else's jokes. And worst of all, he started blaming himself for her silence. And that's when the real suffering began. Not from what she did, but from what he imagined. But then one quiet evening, sitting under a tree in the park where he once walked hand in hand with her, he opened Meditations and read the words that would shake his soul. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. Lucius closed the book and let that sentence sink in. He couldn't control whether she texted him. He couldn't control whether she missed him. He couldn't control whether she had already moved on. But there was one thing and only one that he could control: his mind, his thoughts, his focus, his emotional energy. That moment was like breaking a mental chain. Lucius made a decision that night, not to win her back, but to win himself back. He stopped waiting by the phone. He stopped checking her page. He stopped asking, why me? And started asking, what now? And brother, let me ask you, what thoughts have been ruling your mind? Have you given her silence more power than your peace? Have you given your happiness away to someone who doesn't even know how to handle it? You see, the pain isn't in what happened. The pain is in your resistance to what happened. But when you take control of your mind, something incredible happens. You begin to feel free. Not because she came back. Not because she explained herself. But because you stopped needing her to. Lucius began waking up every morning and reminding himself, my mind is mine. My peace is mine. My strength is mine. And slowly the storm in his chest started to settle. He became more focused. He smiled more. He didn't forget her, but he outgrew the version of himself who needed her validation. So now I ask you, what if the power you've been searching for, the confidence, the calm, the strength, isn't in getting her back, but in getting you back? What if this heartbreak wasn't your end, but your awakening? Because that's what Marcus Aurelius teaches us. The world will test you, but your mind is yours. Hold it like a sword, sharpen it with truth, and protect it with purpose. Yeah, the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Have you ever looked at your pain and asked, why me? Have you stared at her silence like a stone wall in your heart? Wondering how something so small like a missed message can feel so heavy? Lucius did. He used to believe love was supposed to flow freely. Texts back and forth, smiles returned, plans made. But when she began to ignore him, it was like someone suddenly slammed a door shut. No closure, no explanation, just silence. At first, Lucius fought it. He sent more texts, reached out again, hoping desperately that she would open that door just a crack. But nothing came. And then he remembered a lesson from Marcus Aurelius that he once highlighted, but never truly understood. Until now. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. He read that line again and again until something clicked. What if the silence wasn't the end of the story? What if it was the beginning of a new chapter? You see, Lucius began to realize something powerful. Her rejection wasn't a wall. It was a mirror. A mirror that reflected who he had become. A man who had given someone else the keys to his peace. A man who thought love meant losing himself. That moment of heartbreak became his breakthrough. Let me ask you something personal. Have you ever gone through pain that felt like a dead end? But looking back, it was the turning point that changed you. Maybe you didn't notice it at first. But what stood in your way? Your heartbreak, your confusion. Her silence became the very fire that forged a stronger you. That's exactly what happened to Lucius. He stopped waiting for her to respond. Instead, he started responding to himself. He picked up journaling. He began working out, not to impress her, but to respect himself. He started building the version of himself that didn't rely on love to feel whole, but could give love from wholeness. And the funny part? As he changed, he no longer needed her to come back. Because her silence had become the way. The obstacle he once cursed became the gift he never expected. So let me bring this home to you. What if her ignoring you isn't the enemy, it's the engine? What if her silence is the exact thing that will push you to evolve into the man you were meant to become? The obstacle isn't there to stop you. It's there to shape you. So stop asking, why is this happening to me? And start asking, what is this creating in me? Because when the pain becomes your path, you stop being a victim and start becoming a warrior. 8. The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury. Have you ever felt like proving her wrong? Maybe you've thought, one day she'll regret ignoring me. She'll see what she lost. Maybe you've fantasized about bumping into her when you're doing better, looking sharper, living well, and watching her eyes fill with that sweet look of regret. Lucius used to think the same way. After she ghosted him, his chest burned with questions. Was I not good enough? Did I love her too hard? Did she ever love me at all? And then, as days turned to weeks with no response, another feeling crept in. Anger. He didn't want her back anymore. He wanted her to feel what he felt, to taste the same emptiness she left him in. One night, scrolling through her profile in silence, Lucius read this quote in his old journal. The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury. Marcus Aurelius. He froze. That quote didn't feel like advice. It felt like a challenge. Marcus was saying, you were hurt. Yes, but don't become like the person who hurt you. Don't let their indifference turn you cold. Don't let their betrayal turn you bitter. Don't let their silence make you abandon your kindness. Lucius realized something heavy that night. If he started ignoring people like she did, if he started playing games, making others feel small, acting like he didn't care, then he hadn't healed. He had become her. Let me ask you, brother, have you started changing who you are just to survive what she did? Have you hardened yourself, shut people out, or stopped trusting anyone just because one woman couldn't see your worth? That's not strength. That's a scar wearing a mask. Real strength is being unchanged by betrayal. Real strength is saying, I still choose kindness even when they didn't. I still choose to be loving, loyal, and honest even if they weren't. Lucius decided he wouldn't chase revenge. He wouldn't try to impress her. He wouldn't waste energy proving himself. He simply became unlike her. He became more present, more peaceful, more disciplined. He started building the man he could be proud of, not because of her, but because of him. And the funny part? That's when people started noticing. Not just women, but friends, colleagues, even strangers. Because when you become grounded, powerful, and calm after heartbreak, you radiate something rare, dignity. So here's what I want you to take from this. You don't need to hurt her back. You don't need to wait for her to regret it. You just need to live in a way that proves you were never the problem. You just loved too deeply someone who wasn't ready. And that's okay. Let her go. Let the pain go. But don't let yourself go. Become unlike the one who injured you. And that one will be your greatest transformation. 9. Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking. Do you remember the little moments you had with her that made your heart feel full? Not the grand gestures, not the expensive dates. I'm talking about those quiet, simple memories. Her head on your chest. The way she laughed at your dumb jokes. That smile she gave you when you looked at her like she was your whole world. Funny how it was the small things that made you feel the biggest love, right? Lucius remembered those too. After she stopped talking to him, those moments haunted him more than her silence. He'd sit alone on his couch, coffee in hand, replaying the night they danced barefoot in his living room with no music, just laughter, and it made him ache, not because he lost something, but because he thought happiness lived in her. One day, while walking alone in the park, where he used to walk with her, Lucius opened his journal and read a line he had underlined in bold. Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself and your way of thinking. Marcus Aurelius. He stared at that quote like it was a mirror. Could it be true? Could it be that happiness wasn't gone just because she was? Could it be that joy didn't live in her laugh, but in how he chose to see the world? Let me ask you, brother, when was the last time you found happiness in a sunrise? In a quiet moment or in the warmth of your own breath? When did you last realize that your peace was never in her hands but always in yours? Lucius had forgotten that. We all do when we fall hard. We make someone else the keeper of our joy. But Marcus Aurelius was right. You don't need her reply to smile again. You don't need closure to move forward. You don't need validation from someone else to feel complete. Lucius began practicing this truth. Not perfectly, but daily. He found joy in his morning routine. He smiled at the sound of birds outside his window. He learned to enjoy his own company again. And most importantly, he stopped chasing feelings that depended on someone else. Let me offer you this. If you're feeling like life lost color when she left, maybe you just forgot where the light comes from. It comes from you, your perspective, your focus, your thoughts. Even in her absence, you can be full. Even in her silence, you can find serenity. You don't need more to be happy. You just need to realize that everything you thought she gave you was already inside you. So don't wait for a message. Don't wait for her to notice you, miss you, or apologize. Choose to be happy now, with what you have, with who you are, with what's real. Because your way of thinking, not her return, is the key to your freedom. Stay with me. The final lesson is the one that ties it all together and shows you how to rise like a true Stoic. 10. Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. Have you ever caught yourself wondering, what kind of man am I supposed to be after this? After she ignored you? After your heart cracked a little more than you thought it could? After you lost that spark of hope? Lucius asked himself the same question over and over, sometimes late at night, when silence was his only company. What should I be now? How do I act? How do I stop feeling like I'm less than before? He was tired of the pain, but more than that, he was tired of feeling lost. And then, one evening, flipping through Marcus Aurelius's Meditations, he stumbled on this line. Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. At first it sounded so simple, almost too simple. But the more he thought about it, the more he realized it was the answer. Lucius had spent so much time debating himself. Should I show her I'm okay? Should I act cold? Should I text her again or stay silent? He argued with himself for months, caught in a storm of confusion and pain. But Marcus was saying, stop arguing, stop hesitating, stop wasting your energy. Just be good, be honorable. Be the man you want to see in your life. Not for her, not to prove her wrong, but for you. Let me ask you, brother, when was the last time you acted with real integrity, even when no one was watching? When was the last time you chose kindness over bitterness, strength over weakness, self-respect over desperation? Lucius remembered those days before she came into his life, when he was proud of his character, his values, and his calm confidence. He realized he had lost himself trying to fix something outside of him. So he made a promise. He wouldn't waste time debating what to do next. He wouldn't chase her approval or fight against her silence. He would simply be patient, be disciplined, be compassionate, be strong. Slowly his actions spoke louder than his doubts. His confidence returned. His peace settled like a quiet river. And here's the powerful truth. When you become the man you aspire to be, the world shifts. You don't need to convince her. You don't need to win her back. Because being a good man isn't about getting love from others. It's about giving love without expecting anything in return. It's about standing tall no matter what storms come. So I ask you now, are you ready to stop arguing with yourself? Are you ready to stop chasing illusions and start living as the man you truly are? The road won't be easy, but it will be worth it. Because being a good man, especially when it's hardest, is the greatest victory you can ever achieve. Lucius's story isn't just about heartbreak. It's about becoming unbreakable. Becoming a man who doesn't just survive but thrives. And so can you. Back to you. Now ask yourself, what if you stopped chasing? What if you pulled your attention inward, reclaimed your strength, and mastered yourself? Because when a woman ignores you, it's not always personal, but your response, that is personal. And it defines who you are. If you chase her, you feed her ego. If you retreat in anger, you reveal weakness. But if you rise above the noise, calmly, confidently, stoically, you don't just destroy her ego, you reclaim your kingdom. With that said, thanks for watching. And until next time,